Shadows of the Damned is a game that's been recommended to me for years now. Not from viewers or fans, but from my own friends. Yes, the broken controller has friends. And they knew I would love this game. And they were right. So for the last couple years, I've been looking into playing this for the channel, but that was usually through emulation, not a remaster. That's right, in this video, we are playing Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered. Now this video is a bit late, but I still think it deserves to be talked about. Especially since people I know don't even know it exists. And I really wanted to talk about this and its other successful remaster, Lollipop Chainsaw. I really just had to play this cult classic, Shadows of the Damned. Shadows of the Damned is a game made by three iconic figures in gaming history. Produced by Shinji Mikami, written by Suda51, with the music of Akira Yamaoka. With these three legends, what could go wrong? So, the reason you probably haven't heard of Shadows of the Damned up till now is because it had a very, very troubled development. See, originally it was called The Darkness. No, not that Darkness, and not that Darkness either. I reviewed those games already. The Darkness was the behind-the-scenes name for the American audience. The actual name was Kuriyama. Kuriyama was originally based off of Kafka's novel, The Castle. Maybe it's a little bit fitting that he never finished it, considering what happened to the rest of the Shadows of the Damned development. The publisher EA didn't like the concept of a hardcore survival game that involved a guy walking around with a torch. So they decided to add gunplay, and they wouldn't budge on that. That might also be because they had Shinji Mikami, the legendary creator of Resident Evil 4. That matters more than you'd think. This isn't the first time he was expected to make a survival action game that felt like Resident Evil 4. Bethesda did the same thing later on. They brought him in specifically to make Evil Within. Now, this is my own opinion here, but I believe Shadows of the Damned and all of its crazy, innovative visuals and concepts were used as inspiration on his work for Evil Within. I have nothing to base this off of, but it isn't completely unheard of. I mean, just look at his partner on this game, Suda51. His inspiration for No More Heroes came from his work on his previous game, Samurai Champloo, on the PS2. Yeah, I was just as shocked to hear about that as you are. Suda51 worked on a Samurai Champloo video game.
And it's not something that we'd be able to like remake or remaster anytime in the future or anything, but it would probably be a game that he did way back in the day called Samurai Champloo. A lot of people don't know this, but that was actually sort of the starting point for No More Heroes. There was Samurai Champloo, Blood Plus, and No More Heroes. It was kind of like a three title set, you could call it.
I just want to drop this in here. It's not really important to the subject, but Shinji Mikami and Suda51 are American film nerds. If you know anything about film pop culture, you'll know that all of their games are drenched in American film pop culture. I mean, Mikami's inspiration for Evil Within was Shuttered Island and Reanimator. Classics. Shadows of the Damned is no different. I'm not going to go terribly in depth, but you'll see some stuff, and if you know, you know. So while Suda51 and Shinji Mikami were clearly on the same page, EA wasn't. EA didn't like Suda51's unique storytelling. They wanted something a little more grounded. Well, as grounded as a Suda51 game can be. Linked in the description below is a video from Matt McMuscles on why Shadows of the Damned failed. Now, I could reiterate his entire video for you right here, but I don't really want you to do that. His video does deserve the views. But ultimately, EA made Suda51 write 5 separate drafts for Shadows of the Damned. Oh, I'm sorry. Technically, he wrote 6. 5 of them weren't accepted, only the 6th was accepted. All of this happened because EA lied to Grasshopper Studios. They mostly wanted these 3 legendary creators to work with them on a game, so they accepted the original concept and then decided to have them change it when they signed the contracts to whatever EA actually wanted. That's why I brought up Bethesda. If I remember the story correctly, the same thing happened with Evil Within. Shinji Mikami and Suda51 were openly disappointed with what happened and moved towards more producer roles, instead leaving Massimo Giuliani in the director's seat. Now, I personally do not know how true this is, but a lot of sources I've seen suggest that this is basically his game. I personally push back on this theory because of recent interviews like Suda and Mikami talking very passionately and positively about Shadows of the Damned. Like specifically mentioning that if a remaster sells well, we're getting a sequel, baby.
If enough people play the game and if enough people seem to dig the game, that would probably just be kind of the natural course of action. You know?
But it's not like that people are completely misinformed to think that Mikami and Suda hated the game after some of the things they said in interviews and, well, have done to the characters. Especially after Shadows of the Damned flopped. But I'll go more into detail about that at the end of the video since it contains massive spoilers. But food for thought here, I'm going to leave you with my controversial opinion. See, after watching Matt McMuscle's video, where he suggests that if EA didn't make the changes they did, the game would have been successful as Koriyama. Koriyama would have sold great! It would have made millions. Alright, sure. Sure, it would have been the game that they wanted to make, but we've already seen what happens with games like Michigan Report from Hell. So there is absolutely fucking nothing that proves that game would have been successful instead of Shadows of the Damned. Yes, it would have been the game that they really wanted to make, but we've already seen that. And while, yes, EA is an evil company and they have ruined many of my favorite franchises. God, I miss Army of Two and Dead Space. But, and I really hate saying this, if you liked anything that was in Shadows of the Damned, it was because of EA's micromanaging. That's how we got the game that I'm reviewing today. So if you're watching this as confirmation biased, EA is the reason you have this iteration of Shadows of the Damned. Ugh, I feel dirty saying that, but it's the honest truth. And if you actually subscribe, you'll probably never hear me talk good about EA again on this channel.
Exactly. We've actually been wanting to do the remaster for a long time now. He talked to EA about it a long time ago, and they said, well, okay, you can bring it back as a remaster, but it's got to be Origin-based, and we don't want to be putting on like a bunch of other platforms. And that was no longer an issue, and he talked to EA again. They were super cooperative and helpful.
Nice.
Got the rights back, and was like, okay, we can now, so
here.
let's put it on pretty much everything.
Shadows of the Damned is all about being fun, edgy. Imagine if the DMC remake of Devil May Cry was actually funny instead of cringe. While Suda and Mikami wanted a serious, grim-dark tale of surviving in hell, EA wanted a fun, sexy romp into hell. Taking these concepts and smashing them violently together gave the game a very unique tone, kind of like a edgy version of a current-day MCU movie. A good MCU movie. Pretty much the entire game is a dick button sex joke. To put in perspective, your main sidearm is called the Boner. That's because your main companion is a shape-shifting demon called Johnson. Johnson changes into a gun, the Boner. It shoots bones, and after certain interactions, Johnson grows and grows and grows. He gets bigger, harder, and delivers powerful face shots. Now while the game is mostly a goofy, tongue-in-cheek romp through hell with your Johnson, it's always got a sinister yet very violent undertone. So let's talk about the main story of why our character is in hell in the first place. You play as Demon Hunter Garcia Hotspur, one of the most powerful and deadly demon slayers in the entire world. He's so good at his job of slaughtering these corrupt beings from hell that they decide to stop trying to kill him and aim for a much, much easier target.
No. Oh, God. Paula! Wait, no!
The story of Shadows of the Damned is ultimately Garcia going through hell to save the love of his life from the evil Fleming, who out of spite for Garcia Hotspur, repeatedly murders Paula throughout her stay in hell, usually showcasing it all to Garcia. It is a surprisingly effective way of never letting you forget the main objective. You're here to save Paula, and it establishes how effective Fleming is as the ruler of hell. Especially when one of the major villains you run into is Fleming's ex-wife, the Unbreakable Huntress. Funny thing is, Fleming was able to kill and break the Unbreakable Demon Slayer, just like he plans on breaking Paula, and he's doing all of this to break Garcia. It's a truly evil plan for an ungodly, merciless devil that rules hell through his violent deeds. Garcia Hotspur must fight his way through the darkness and Fleming's violent, degenerate schemes to save what's left of Paula before the darkness takes hold. You are the demon hunter wielding a boner, so powerful that it makes fallen angels fall to their knees. Shadows of the Damned is a third-person shooter with a mix of RE4 and RE6 combat. Yes, you have a laser on your gun for aiming that allows you to shoot with pinpoint accuracy, but you're also able to move around, dodge, shit like that. Depending on how you look at it, this could be the best and worst of both worlds. I was playing on an Xbox controller on PC, so maybe the aiming was a little wonky for me, or it could have just been that the aiming was just a little bit off. I don't know. Maybe it could have been better if I was using the mouse and keyboard instead of the controller. Kind of like how Resident Evil 4 felt amazing using a Wii remote. But I don't think the aiming was actually bad. It just wasn't as precise as I wanted it to be, but that could also be because I'm trash. Maybe secretly I'm an IGN employee, I don't know. One of the good things about combat is most demons you run into have one or two objectives in combat. One is usually to kill you, trying to smite Garcia using anything from claws, teeth, to even blood magic. That includes launching lightning bolts. While most enemies can be taken care of easily with a simple headshot, others have demonic energy stored in giant red orbs on them that you have to attack. That's where the precision really comes into play. Sure, it's very difficult to land a shot on a berserker running roughshod on you unless you use the light shot to stun him. Demons are incredibly weak to light. You have to use light shot to incapacitate demons for easier shots. You also use light to your advantage by destroying the light barrels around you. They're explosive barrels, except it's light. They cause massive damage and AoE, killing demons all around you. Why is there light in hell if it damages demons? Well, Fleming doesn't just hate humans, he also hates his own demons. Fleming really is just that evil. He keeps light around just to torture the other demons that he has working for him to keep them in line. But we can use that to our advantage. Because while demons are weak to light, they get their power from the darkness, wearing it like an armor that even Johnson's boner can't penetrate. That's another use for the light shot. It breaks this armor, so we can shoot our enemies directly in the head and end their existence. This is where a lot of your enemies second objective comes into play. A lot of them are trying to turn off the lights, bringing in the darkness to where Garcia is at a massive disadvantage. Not just because they wear darkness armor, but also because it actively hurts human beings. Humans cannot survive in the demonic darkness of hell. Now, there are objectives all over hell to turn the lights back on, like shooting your light shot at giant goat head lanterns, or these giant mechanical lanterns that you have to get ready. You wouldn't think this, but Shadows of the Damned has a lot of complexity to its combat because of this. You'll have demons teleporting from demonic totem to demonic totem, trying to catch you off guard so they can hit you with a lightning bolt. While a liquor demon from RE2 tries to spit darkness all over the goat head so there's no more light, making sure that all the melee enemies that are rushing you now have darkness armor, and you have to deal with that goat head, the liquor, and the melee demons while a sniper tries to take shots at you while teleporting. There are so many little layers of complexity that when you're playing it, you don't think about. But as I'm breaking down the fights in my head while writing the script, I just see endless possibilities. One enemy can change everything in any situation, meaning the fight can be incredibly easy or immensely difficult depending on your threat recognition. Having said all that, the game still isn't that difficult. I only really died from enemies that had instant kills or my own stubbornness not wanting to waste healing items when I was making mistakes. Like I said, you can't survive in the darkness, so some areas are timed mazes that you have to figure out instantly. So sometimes I would just let myself get killed so I don't have to waste my healing items while I was running around doing nothing because the checkpoints are actually pretty good in this game. So I would just teleport back to the beginning. So I would just checkport back to the beginning and do the maze properly, saving valuable healing items and ammunition. So unless you're out here chugging vodka like you're a Russian gangster to survive, you should be able to store as many of these healing items as possible for big boss fights and the end game. For me, I got to the end of the game and I had so many healing items that I was able to just fight bosses and let them hit me. I had nothing to worry about. I didn't even have to learn the mechanics. I just got to shoot them like crazy and heal on up like chugging vodka all day. Now I haven't tried this, but those darkness sections, the mazes, might have soft lock potential, especially if you're spamming healing items. Now while I haven't seen anyone complain about this online, soft locking is a theoretical possibility. So be careful. I've seen some old reviewers talking about this as the worst aspect of the game, and they're probably right. The darkness is kind of an annoying aspect of the game. Having said that, they are the most visually interesting areas of Shadows of the Damned, usually psychologically torturing Garcia, while stimulating us players. But this is a third-person shooter, and we still haven't talked about Garcia Hotspur's weaponry. While battling our way through the nether regions of hell, we're going to need powerful weapons to combat the malignant spirits of hell. Yes, we have Johnson's boner for delivering facials, but what if we can change it up and use it as a sticky bomb that explodes when shot? This also can be used to take out groups of enemies, open up passages, and break enemy armor. That's right. Some enemies are heavily armored. That means they can have darkness armor with armor plating underneath it that you have to break. But if that doesn't get the job done, how about a skull crusher, a shotgun mixed with a grenade launcher? You need a close range weapon to blow up any evil deity that stands in your way? You can even charge it up with 4 shots all at once. The only thing that's going to be left is the stain on the wall behind them. But if they're really unlucky, you can charge it up even further, combining all 4 of those shots into a ball that explodes, doing massive AoE damage. Surprisingly, that's not even my favorite of Garcia's many implementations of violence, because what's more painful than a trip to the dentist? How about an SMG that uses teeth? Demon teeth. At first, this is something you push aside and you don't really need, It's just there to get easy headshots. Why would you use that when you have a boner? Well, eventually it becomes a Gatling gun, but so inaccurate. How about we fix that? Why don't we make it a smart gun from Alien? We have a Gatling gun with homing features. This made the late game easy. The weaponry of Shadows of the Damned makes it a power fantasy. Now, like I said, spoilers ahead, after you finally defeat Fleming, the ruler of hell, and rescue Paula from the underworld, she's changed. She is now the mistress of the underworld, Fleming's mistress, and he's willing to send the full forces of hell down onto Garcia because he wants her back. Now, while there's no sequel yet, there was a game that continued the story. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. Again, I should actually play this for the channel at some point. It is a love letter to almost every single game that Suda51 ever made, and I mean everything. And I mean that. Even though Suda and James Gunn didn't have the rights to Lollipop Chainsaw, they still found a way to show her representation in that game, even if it's a little depressing. Speaking of depressing, we see how Garcia's story ends. Garcia is finally defeated by the demons of hell and killed by another human. Which I've seen in Reddit. I know, I've seen in Reddit that he looks suspiciously like the original Koriyama character. That's why a lot of people believe Suda and Shinji Mikami hated Garcia. I mean, they did kill him off with their own character that they originally wanted for Koriyama. That and some of the interviews they were doing after the game came out. But that sentiment seems to have changed. That could be for really any reason. Like the fact that this might be their last chance at the big time game designer wise. At least now, they seem to show a lot of love for Garcia Hotspur and his favorite gun, Johnson, and they deserve it. But even if we don't get a sequel, we still have Travis Strikes Back, continuing the story, and honestly, they do a fairly good job of showing love and respect to the original property of Shadows of the Damned, even having cheeky dialogue about the original's technical issues, which upon the release of the remaster, a lot of those were fucking fixed, which is hilarious to me. But in Travis Strikes Back, there is a legendary boss fight where Travis is able to beat Johnson one-on-one, and we see that Garcia is still alive and savable, but in Travis Strikes Back, we have the legendary boss fight where Travis is able to beat Johnson one-on-one, and we see that Garcia is still alive and savable by Johnson, setting up a sequel still. If you like this video, comment and subscribe, and if you're watching this if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and if you're watching this in the background, please put your boners away and click the subscribe button anyways. Later on, Demon Hunters.
What's our luck? Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Motherfucker, bitch, fuck, shit went down. Fleming's got an itch, scratch it with a bitch. Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Ooh, Johnson, that's my name. Big penis, that's my game. Johnson, yeah, Johnson, ooh, Johnson everywhere, yeah. Motherfucker, bitch, shit went down. Ha ha, in the darkness, we shall have fun. Talk about my Johnson, talk about my bum. Talk about my thighs, they're really good in size. Oh my goodness, I can't believe my eyes, cause Fleming's got an itch. Scratch it with a bitch. Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Motherfucker, bitch, cock, cunt went down with a demon.